Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are taking a look at the latest from WOODZ. This is Human Extinction. I believe it's the title track off of his album that he just dropped. The album, of course, is Archive 1. Make sure you guys check it out. I reacted to this on the main channel, and that reaction will be up at the same time as this is, so if you're interested in just the reaction, check out Jeff Reacts 12. This video, I will do my best to talk about the lyrics and my interpretation of the video. I mentioned at the end of the reaction, though, because obviously I filmed that first, that I'm going to catch some things, but this one felt like a video where I was going to miss some things. So if I miss anything, let's talk about it in the comments. But yeah, we'll see what we can find here. Let's see what WOODZ intends us to learn or think about from this song. Human Extinction. Alright, we got the credits rolling. Looks like we're getting the stories of like 3 different people here. Okay, hold on. Light is born in the presence of darkness. Interesting stance there. I would argue differently, but we'll go with that for the purpose of this video. Alright, so we're rocking out. We've got a little futuristic synth underneath. Chapter 1, Light Hides Secrets. So it looks like, I keep calling it Chapter 1, but I think what we're actually seeing is like Story 1. Because I believe, I mentioned that it looks like we're seeing the stories of 3 different people. I believe when we see Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, those are like the other characters. But we'll see. I think that's what I remember from watching the first time, though. Love his falsetto vocals here. All right, so we've got a girl who seems to be watching 2 other girls. All right, so we've got her, and she's looking at this girl in the pink sweater, and these other 2, or maybe she's one of these 2. Okay. Then she's zooming in on this picture. Like, I don't know if she's obsessed with this girl or jealous of her or... Oh, actually, wow, I'm dumb. It's literally right here in parentheses. I wish I could be her. Well, what was that in the lyric page? No. Well, that would explain why... Okay. Well, at least we know. That's gonna matter, though. I wish I could be her. So she is, basically obsessing over her. She's jealous of her. She wants what she has. She, being the girl we're focused on, wants what she has, being the girl in the pink sweater. What was story 1 called again? Light hides secrets. Okay. From a physical standpoint, you would think like darkness hides secrets. But the way I would take that, if we're taking light as the hiding factor, is picture yourself in a really, really like pitch black room. Or maybe you're out walking in the woods or along a dark road with no lights. And suddenly a light appears and you look directly into the light and you think like, oh, like it's guiding my path. And then the light goes away and you realize you can't see anything is actually a battle tactic too. I forget which army did it, but there was an army who was crossing the desert, and they were being trailed, and so they lit fires in the night. And you would think the light would give them away, but no, the light, because it was so bright and the enemies were focused looking at it, it obscured their vision, and so the army that lit the fires was able to escape. So the light can hide things in the darkness if you look too closely at it. That's how I'm gonna take this title. But okay, I wish I could be her is what we're looking at here. And then also now we're getting like a white collar guy, an office worker, that kind of thing. And he is leaving the office, but he looks nervous and not not at ease. He's even looking behind him, almost as if he's thinking he's going to be followed. Then he gets home. Okay, he's home and he's like surrounded by trash. So he's got this what looks like a perfectly normal job and perfectly normal life when he goes out, but he comes home and he lives in filth and stench and hoarding, and yeah, okay. And in this case, he's got the blinds drawn, or the curtains, I should say. So there's a duality in all of these scenes about light and dark, regardless of, what he's saying about light in general. Alright, so now this girl is trying to emulate Pink Sweater Girl. And he, our white collar guy, is like wearing way too many scents and like colognes. Like you see all those empty bottles. He's trying to mask the smell that he lives in when he leaves. And then like when he's in the shower, he's scrubbing. And it reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons. I think it was where Homer saw Selma naked, I think. But he gets in the shower and he's scrubbing, and he's like just scrubbing like for hours, and he's like, I'll never get clean. I'll never get clean. Like that's what this guy is basically doing. Okay, so you see, like, everyone's, like, looking the same now here. Let's talk about the lyrics, though, real quick, and try and catch up, because we've been neglecting the lyrics. So, the beginning was, I don't know about myself, the sin of my existence again. And remember, that was the part where she was saying, like, I want to be like her. So, it's almost like she thinks that who she is isn't worth being who she is. And so she's wants to lose herself and become this other person, have what that person has. I should have disappeared. What now? That guy who came looking for me again. Guy. Hug me tight so you can't find me. I can't win against you. Um, I know that's the part where we're watching the guy come home from work, which I guess that line, I don't know if that was where it was delivered, but that guy who came looking for me might be where he's like looking over his shoulder. Um, but yeah, it's like he's worried someone's going to discover what's going on. And then highlight empty shell shining on me who was locked away. So that light, like they said, is highlighting their imperfections, the imperfect version of them that was locked away. Then we've got the I don't know if this is all one big chorus or a pre-chorus, because the way this is set up, it doesn't say. But it says, I won't outlast. You shine on me once again. I'll break again. Shame on me. I'm pretty sure that's when he's in the shower. We won't outlast. We are all the same. Can't be free. Human extinction. Uh, so there's a part to this that's, speaking to what happens when we're gone. Um, who were we when we were alive, and what did we do with life? Did we lose ourselves in trying to be someone else? Did we live a life without regrets? Did we, live a life that we could be proud of? Did we leave anything behind? It doesn't seem, by the name of the song, you would have thought maybe he was saying like humans should be wiped out, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. It's almost more, and I hinted at this maybe in the reaction or here, I've already forgotten, but that there was like a philosophical vibe to this one, and now I know why. Like, we're not advocating for world obliteration. It's almost like telling us to think about who we are and what we're doing. So if I'm taking that the right way, it's a really cool message. We'll see how it keeps playing out, because there's a lot more like video story here to go. Alright, so now she's like cracking under the pressure, I think. She's like laughing at the absurdity of all of this, or maybe she's just having a mental breakdown. I don't really know. But I don't know if this is the true her. I can't tell if she has her hair cut or if it's just like tucked behind her. Like, is this her after she cut her hair to be like the pink sweater girl or not? I think it is. All right, so here's our guy like sitting in the filth after he's taken a shower. He's in his comfy clothes, and yeah, it's pretty gross. And you see WOODZ is in all of these scenes, or a lot of these scenes, as like a silent observer, almost as if to say like he's detached from this and he's showing us like human possibilities. And it's like his commentary on it. Or that he's not there to necessarily pass judgment, but let me come at that a different way. A Christmas Carol. If you read the script or seen the play or whatever, the ghost of Christmas past or whatever, and all that stuff. Like seeing what's his name, Scrooge or whatever. Like he gets shown the error of his ways by the ghosts. It seems like essentially that type of concept is what WOODZ is. He's like showing us what maybe is the error of our ways. All right, here's story 2. The light seeps into the darkness. And I've called it chapters, I've called it stories. It could even be like steps. Like the light hides the darkness, or the light was born in the darkness. I forget which one number 1 was, and now it seeps into the darkness. The way he's describing light here, though, is almost like the light is the bad guy, or the bad aspect, as opposed to darkness. But I always thought, and maybe I'm taking it wrong, but I've always thought, of course, like most people, that light is the light of truth, so to speak, will shine on. All right, so she takes the picture, and then our girl turns around, and I've already forgotten if this is the actual pink sweater girl or if this is the girl that wanted to be the pink sweater girl. Either way, she's being like examined now. And now we get a third character. So light does not judge, it only casts shadows. So we saw a patient being wheeled in on the gurney, and I wasn't sure who this was. I thought this might be the girl that we just saw, but I don't think so now. I thought that when I was watching it in the reaction. I think this is a completely separate character because we're going to be focusing on the doctor, but this is his story. So he's in a dark room, kind of hiding there. Okay, so these bugs, these like fly around the surgical lights. Obviously, this is an operating room, and he's a surgeon apparently. But these bugs indicate that there's been death. Obviously, if you've never seen an operating room, it's a completely sterile environment. There would not be any bugs. So this is representing like that there's a corpse here. Which means you can tell by the empty bed and all these surgical instruments and his expression, he feels like he has failed, whoever the patient was, which makes me think that the person that he was looking at, kind of detached from, who was crying, was someone related to whoever he failed here in the operating room. Yeah, you see, like they're doing the procedure, and it's not going well. Okay, he looks down at this meal really like the light just vanishes from his eyes instantly. What is he? Okay, I don't see anything wrong with the meal. You know, sometimes when we see these type of scenes, we see um the food is actually not as it appears. Like in the music video for Flower from Sha Junsu, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but we saw that like the extravagant meal was actually like grotesque, like alien fish kind of stuff once it looked at directly at the plate. But here, I don't necessarily see anything that's out of place on the plate. But you see his utensils, the knife, the fork, the spoon, they've been replaced by a scalpel and forceps, tweezers. So that tells me that this girl, it might have been his daughter. It might have been just a random little girl, and maybe that was the mother who's crying. Or maybe it's both. Maybe this is his daughter and hers, and he failed them as a father and a surgeon. I don't know, but the point is, this little girl either is the one he failed or reminds him of the one he failed. And here in the background, you have a painting of people mourning death. WOODZ is there as like the silent ghost or judge in all of these scenes. So here, actually, WOODZ is like smiling, like he's the agent of this man's. I don't want to say destruction. Maybe he's like, you know how sometimes doing the right thing hurts, or making progress can be painful. Maybe that's the kind of smile he's got here. Like, I'm doing this for your own good. But either way, he's taking some form of pleasure in this man. Remember earlier we were talking about like he was looking over his shoulder, like presumably to see that he wasn't being followed by the guy, whoever the guy is. But now apparently they have found how he's living, and it's obviously not safe. There's hazards all over the place, and so we're doing something about it. The cops are trying to clear it out. But he's fighting them. He's trying to hold on to it. That was a good scene too. She's in the bathroom cutting her hair, and she's trying to be like the girl in the pink sweater. all of them are like being lit up in the darkness here. And it's almost like, again, it's a metaphor for the duality of perfect versus imperfect. But also, like, in some ways, like the light creeping through to show who they really are and that they can't hide. Fireworks are usually a celebration. I'm not so sure that it is a celebration here, but there is the aspect that remember we talked about how I think this is him, saying like, what kind of life have you led? If, once human extinction happens or whatever, like, did you leave behind anything, whatever. And this could be, I mentioned again, fireworks are usually a celebratory thing. Maybe this is the celebration of human life in this scene. And then we close out with the same shot we opened with. Human extinction, when the light reaches you, nothing remains concealed, so you can't hide in the darkness. Not even the darkness you call your own. So you can't retreat to the shadows of your own mind or your own heart or literal shadows. Like, you can't hide who you are when the light touches you. So I was right when I said earlier that, it's like the light of truth will shine down. I just took it wrong in the beginning. So let's talk about the rest of those lyrics. From earlier, after human extinction, we come with highlight empty shell shining on me who was locked away. So it's that same pre-chorus. And then I won't outlast. You shine on me once again. I'll break again. Shame on me. We won't outlast. We are all the same. Can't be free. Human extinction. So actually, it's just a repeat. Lyrically, there's not a lot to this, but when you take the lyrics with all the scenes, the stories in the video, there is a lot to talk about here. And I don't know that I've done it justice, but I think I have. I want to say I think I have understood the intent. Whether I have clearly communicated it as I have gone through it or not is a different story. And I think there are some elements to each one of their stories that maybe I didn't touch on. The doctor is the most poignant to me because I'm a nurse and I'm not a surgeon by any means, but I've felt the weight of, losing a patient when maybe you thought you could do more for them and you weren't able to do it in that moment. And so he not only felt like he failed as, a maybe as a caregiver or as a father or a husband or whatever role he was to that girl and that woman crying, but he obviously associates his identity with being a surgeon. And as he stood in that empty room, like, the lights flickering and him examining the table full of instruments, there was nothing he could do. And so you saw him in those different scenes, like hiding behind the blinds, not facing the light, or sitting, on the bench facing away from the window. There were a lot of pieces of imagery that showed that, he not only felt like he failed, but that he was empty or incomplete. Like, his identity is associated with being a surgeon and saving lives. So losing this one kind of ate at his core. And like I said, I can relate to that on a smaller scale, but I've also seen it when working in the hospitals and stuff like that too. So yeah, really, like, really potent stuff there. And the other two stories are equally poignant, just they don't resonate as strongly with me because of my experiences. All right, my friends, so that was Human Extinction from WOODZ. And like I said, there is a lot to this, not lyrically. There is some there, but this one is almost all told within the story of the video. Um, Let me know what you guys thought. What did I miss? What did you guys catch that I missed or that I didn't touch on? Sometimes I see things and I just don't mention them because I don't think they're, you know, that relevant. So I'm curious if you guys saw anything that would be like that for me. Um, but I'm also curious, what did you guys think of the song itself? Not just the message and what it might have meant, or did we catch everything, whatever, but did you like the song? For me, the song itself, I think I like it a lot more because I saw the video. If I were to just hear the song, at the end of the reaction, I mentioned that I think maybe it's in my top 10 from WOODZ. But if I hadn't seen the video and I just heard the song, I'm not so sure that would be the case. It's good and he's mega talented, but there's not much there for me. Um, hmm, I don't know. Uh, I know it's not in my top five, regardless of whether I saw the video or not, because those top five slots are occupied by Drowning, Amnesia, Hijack, Cinema, and Journey. So, sorry, Human Extinction ain't cracking that top five. But yeah. Anyway, I've rambled enough here at the end. I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely hope it gave you some food for thought, regardless of whether I'm right or not. If you did enjoy, though, first off, make sure you support WOODZ, subscribe to his channels, check out his album. And also, if you enjoyed my specific video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to enable your notifications. If you want to get a request on here on the channel, you can either go through Patreon. Gray tier and higher get access to monthly requests, as well as all the content that's over on Patreon. And special shout out to those gray tier and higher subs. Thank you guys for all your support. The other way, if you're not interested in Patreon, is to look in the description of this video or any of the videos, and you'll find a link to PayPal and instructions on how to use it. So feel free to take a look at any of that, and I will see you for the next one. Take care, everybody.